Welcome back to Tabletop Diaries, where we are essentially reviewing Shadowdark.
And how appropriate it is. It's almost the end of the year. 15 episodes later, we dove right in. It's time to sit back and gather our thoughts.
Yes, 2025. I believe that's when we started, right? We started
in 2025.
We dropped these episodes this year in 2025, as we are at the end of 2025, and we're basically doing a review on Shadowdark, our thoughts and feelings of what we've been going through with this game.
How's the system stands, since we played D&D right before we jumped into Shadowdark, because our initial introduction to the RPGs was D&D, and then we dropped D&D and jumped into Shadowdark, and let's reflect on what that feels like. What's the meaning of this switch?
Indeed. I must say, before I get started, let me put on some Syrinscape. If you haven't been listening to us and you for some reason jumped to this episode for whatever weird reason, first and foremost, listen to our other stuff. It's probably more entertaining and you probably have a better mind of whatever. But Syrinscape, you should use it for all your TTRPG and tabletop needs. I know this sounds scripted, but
We're not sponsored.
We are not sponsored.
We just love it.
It works. It's great. There's a lot of other stuff you can use for your music and all that, but you should definitely check out Syrinscape.
We just love it, and let's do a shout out to our friend who introduced us to it, Rick Sandage from Find the Path.
Yes,
that's where I learned Syrinscape from. It's thanks to him,
and a huge influence to this podcast, to be honest.
Actually, I remember the first music we started using in Find the Path was Midnight Syndicate. I remember.
Huh.
Yeah. And we became friends with them, and they gave us permission to use their music. That was our first, kind of endorsement. Zero budget. We didn't have any money, so they gave us. I still have those albums. They gave us a D&D album and a Halloween album to use, and we used that music a lot until we discovered Syrinscape.
Yeah, I'm glad you did discover Syrinscape, because it has been a huge part in our production, and it's great.
If you like it, you should check out Find the Path channel and their YouTube channel. We did interview the maker, the founder and the maker of Syrinscape. We interviewed him twice, actually. He's a good guy, really cool. He loves what he does, and you can tell.
Yeah, and Rick Sandage is, if for those of you who don't know and you're just listening to us per se, our first episode, the narrator who kind of sets the tone for the whole story, that's him. That's him and his voice. He's a great narrator and honestly a great
Funny
DM.
You say that. I mean, that episode is the most listened to episode.
Probably because of him, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. If you ever listen to this, thank you. But we are here to wrap up 2025 and essentially review Shadowdark. Now, as a DM, I'm still fairly new to DMing, to be completely honest with you. It is my honor and privilege for anyone who's listening to, if you never played and you are learning through our game, my humblest thank you for listening and suffering through our shenanigans as we explore this game, specifically Shadowdark, the system. And again, like you said, we started with D&D, just 5e, because you wanted to jump into this game, and I've always wanted to do a podcast with this, with a bunch of people. But this was the first group who I felt actually it was attainable.
I wanted to do a podcast too, but also I wanted to play, and I couldn't believe that you were also in it, and I was like, great. Someone who can help me play.
Right.
And I was like, okay, Tim, you're the GM.
I will say this. This game is, Shadowdark is amazing, and I love Kelsey for creating this adaptation. The whole light thing, I do need to push that a little harder on you guys, but its ingeniousness of creating time-sensitive and resource-sensitive problems really does kind of help push the urgency of action. Because I feel like in a lot of D&D games,
puts a lot of stress, a little bit stress.
a little bit stress is kind of okay because it keeps you alive and it keeps you on your toes.
Resource management,
especially on your early game. And I could tell she's going back to that that 3.5e edition where it's like you can't just have 400 things in your inventory like a video game. You can't just, depend on dark vision. Obviously, dark vision is not a thing in this world. That's the biggest thing is like light is a rare source commodity. For those of you who don't know what Shadowdark is, and again, if you just jump to this episode for whatever, or this whatever on our podcast, this technically wouldn't be an episode. It's just I don't even know what to call this. What are we going to call this?
We'll think about it.
Yeah. Well, whatever this is labeled out, it's clearly not, episode whatever. It's clearly just us reviewing and wrapping up 2025.
Hopefully we try to answer questions that people will have the same questions that maybe we'll have. So I'll try to think from that point of view.
Right.
Since we have you here as the GM because you know the game. I mean, at least you delved into the material more. I am here as a player, so I don't have that luxury of looking into the books as much as you do.
You're still
keep
new.
It that way,
you're still new to honestly the all of TTRPG.
Yeah.
Because I play in several games. None of them are recorded. This is the only recorded version of a game, and I just decided to take this role as the DM, which I've been thoroughly enjoying, and I hope you all have too.
So in that spirit, let me ask you a question. What are the pluses and minuses you see in Shadowdark in comparison to D&D? If you have any praises and slight criticism or things that you might see to be fixed or not fixed.
Right.
Yeah. Mechanically speaking.
Right off the bat, huge, great thanks to Kelsey for tables. Having a table to roll a light source, like something happens to the light. This is all, by the way, I'm gonna largely put this all into the player's handbook. I don't want to get into the zines, also known as venture paths and some, the story, if you will, pre-made stories for you. She leaves a lot of room for you to just kind of let the dice tell the story, right? So if you're going through rounds, like around the table, and it's been like 1 or 2, 3 rounds, it even tells you that, like, if this is a risky place, do a check every 3 rounds, or do a check every round if it's deadly and stuff like that. You have a table to roll on for something that happens, and it's not always bad. It's not always like, an encounter. There's an encounters table. There's something happens. There's an attack the light, like if someone's holding a torch or any light source, maybe something happens at that light source, and there's tables for it that you can roll. And like I said, every encounter doesn't have to be, threatening, because there's also a table like, okay, I roll for something happens and like 3 wolves jump out at you. What are those 3 wolves like intention? There's a table for that. Are they hungry? Are they hunting? Are they hostile right off the back? Or are they, scared and trying to find something, or maybe they're attracted to you? Feel like everything is a table, and that makes DMing actually really easy, because now I don't have to spend time like, I could spend time DMing more like how I kind of think of it, like kind of daydreaming in a sense. I feel like I might be alone on this, but I feel like I'm probably not. Where you just kind of daydream scenarios of like, that'd be cool, and then you kind of write it in the story. But of course, ultimately, your players and the dice determine if that happens.
It gives you a chance to craft like a moment from scratch on the go.
Exactly. And you don't have to,
saves you time from prep. As a GM, I understand, cuts off on the prep work.
Right. So I'm not so worried about like these 5 bandits have to meet them, because that's going to expand the story. These 5 bandits might change the story completely. And now I'm just rolling with that. Like, okay, I roll in an encounter random, and now this guy has this, and again, I love the 50-50 of if they have treasure or not, because that could also change the stuff. All of a sudden, maybe this person has a great weapon, like or a legendary weapon for whatever reason, and now you're like, what are these bandits we're doing? And then that could just drive the whole game into whatever you want to at this point, and then that's what I love. about all the tables that she took the time to like kind of sit down. Even with the adventure path, she leaves a lot to just up to the DM, which can be intimidating for especially new DMs. Because I will say, when I first started this, I was kind of stressed in a sense. So I was like, oh man, I don't know what kind of story I should write. Like, how do I even do this? Where do I begin? Where do I start? And another shout out to the Lazy DM to YouTube. You should check him out for tips and hints on like how to run a game, period. He breaks it down pretty easily, and he was like also one of the newer ones that kind of popped up with this Shadowdark. But ultimately, just watching some videos real quick, and I really hope this channel does that to new DMs also, just kind of, or anyone who's interested in this game. I hope it also inspires you. Like, you don't have to worry about creating a whole world before you play.
You have a lot of tables to use to your advantage.
You just start, and this goes with like honestly any D&D game, any D&D based like game. Just start, and I guarantee you, your worries will diminish a lot, because now you're not worried about, oh man, I need to create the big bad immediately. I need to create all these. There is prep. I would say you do need to do some kind of prep, like maybe have some like bad guys in the back burner just for like, oh, this might be a fun thing to do like real quick, and have those stats so it doesn't like slow down the game. But you shouldn't have to worry about really like kind of creating the whole world immediately. You can just relax and let it happen and flow naturally. Because honestly, that D&D and Shadowdark, it's just about storytelling and letting the dice and the players kind of dictate where you go.
Since we started playing the game, I remember when we were playing D&D, I did look up a lot of stuff, trying to learn and all that because it was new.
Right.
But with Shadowdark, I didn't look up anything or anything. It's like,
really?
I did not look up a single review or a video, except I watched like a couple of videos of what's her name, the creator of the
Kelsey.
game, Kelsey. A couple of how to do your character sheet.
Right.
That's the extent of how much I watched.
You still want some mechanics.
And then
follow,
I didn't do anything. It's just that my relationship with Shadowdark was when we meet and when we play, and I'm in that universe. And then recently, I watched for the first time. There's this guy I watched his YouTube, and he did. He's a D&D person, and then he did the review of Shadowdark. That was the first time I watched someone reviewing Shadowdark.
Right.
And he did say, he played it for a year, tested it out, before he can say his opinion. That was great. That, a couple of things stuck out. Maybe you can expand on that.
I'd love to.
He mentioned his comparison, and his comparison was in favor of Shadowdark. Maybe you can technically explain it, about the spells and how in D&D it's this clogged up, jammed up. You have to maintain and manage a lot of crap, kind of.
Yes.
Versus in Shadowdark, is this his general idea that Shadowdark streamlined and compressed and simplified a lot of things, not just for spells, but like for this particular topic, we're talking about spells. And I understood that immediately, because when I was playing D&D, it kept me away from getting anywhere near of those kind of characters, because there's so much to cram in there, and I can't keep up with that a lot of stuff. Versus Shadowdark kept it trimmed.
Okay.
Is that true?
Yes. 100%. I will say this. Yes, Shadowdark, definitely. Kelsey definitely like streamlined everything to make it simple. And as a new player, I believe that would obviously gravitate to you, because like the math is simple. They simplified it completely, which is great, because who wants to 2E? I'm looking at you with your THACO. If you don't know what that is, don't bother looking at it. Just know it's called D&D Advanced for a reason. It's like some math nerd decided like, hey, let's complicate the absolute crap out of this. Let's throw some geometry and algebra at you, for a game that's theater of mind and like make believe, and you're just like trying to think. Now you got to do complicated math to just hit to attack somebody. So I mean, 5e, obviously simplified, where it's like the greater number beats whatever. So she took 5e, and like this has always been a thing with a lot of D&D players, like free 3.5e, where are the big ones. I played 3.5 for a very short time, and I did enjoy it a lot. But I will say, yes, they streamline it to make the math simple. Like, even the levels, like it's 1 through 10, and the experience, isn't like I have to reach 200,000 or 250 or 260. Now I got to reach 275,000 or whatever. It's just multiplied by 10. If I'm level 1, I need 10 experience to get to level 20. If I'm level 20, I need 20 experiences, but it resets. That is great. And going back to the spells, what you're saying, yes, I understand that, because there's concentration spells in 5e. There's restrictions on, like, okay, I cast this, but this only hits an object, or might hit a person of this and this and this. Kelsey, when she designed these spells, streamlined it, like you said, where it's like word for word, like this is it. There's no guesswork in between.
That's what I like.
Yes, as a DM too, because now I'm not like researching or going through the endless Reddit forums of like
books
and books and like or like YouTube searches, like what do you do, and like what should this, and then your debates on like, well, okay, technically fog cloud obscures this, but technically you still might see it, or like if I cast fire and water and the steam affects this and that and what. She's just like, this happens and this happens, this is the condition,
that's it,
and that's it. Now, like, you can roll. I will say, like, this is a hit or miss for a newer DM, and this might help or hinder you. Might be a little too streamlined on some parts, going from adventure path in like a 5e where it tells you everything, and by tell you everything, like, if this happens, this happens. If this doesn't happen, then they might find this, and this. And this kind of goes in with improv, right? Because you can always just create whatever. Kelsey lets you heavily improv, and like will put something like, this village has X amount of people. This person is like this. This is the secret of the town. And, this is one remarkable thing. And then that's it. Whereas a 5e might be like, so-and-so knows this and this. To get this information, you have to go here, DC this, and this, and this. Which, that's what I feel like when I first started, I was kind of struggling and kind of stressed out about. Was like, do I need step-by-step instructions? Or should I just let it go? That is where the 50-50 comes in, as like a new DM who's never done anything and wants that like direction. If you're that kind of person that needs a step-by-step instruction, like an instruction manual, that might throw you in for like a loop of like, oh, I have to create kind of things.
So what you're saying, it seems like Shadowdark fosters improv and creativity and quick wit from the DM.
Yeah.
Versus,
I think that I feel like that's what that was, I guess, would be my negative. Yeah. If you're like completely new to any kind of D&D tabletop role-playing game.
Yeah. If you don't have that quick instinct to improvise on the spot,
you might have a little trouble trying to just create stuff on the spot. Yeah. But if you're
someone who is like quick storyteller who knows how to like quickly solve problems and improvise,
yes,
Shadowdark will fit naturally within your instincts. Versus if you're not, maybe you should grow those skills in D&D. The more you play and step by step that holds your hands through the process, you kind of like develop that mindset.
Right.
So when you jump back into Shadowdark, you already have that skill ready to go.
Exactly. And that's the only kind of bad thing I would say about it. If you're completely fresh and you have no idea what you're doing, you might want to take an adventure path in 5e. And then when you realize how complicated it's gotten, especially 2024, not trying to trash talk that at all. Don't at me, people, I'm sorry. But there is a lot of rules, and I do get kind of the appeal to that for seasoned players, because they're like, I want something kind of complicated so I can really kind of break down like why I'm, casting create water on a
from a DMing perspective, like I said, if some people are like, naturally skilled at improvising and being good. But if you're not, I guess taking a stab at D&D on that, it kind of gives you the picture of what it looks like.
Yes, once you get the formula.
Yeah, and if it becomes too complicated for you, you can
simplify it.
Yeah, when you jump back into Shadowdark, you'll be like, okay, now I know what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have a free hand here to be the storyteller.
Suddenly, like, maybe I make them have a dex check for stealth. Because that's another big thing is like, there's no specific checks. Like, I'm not like, hey, I want a stealth. Give me a stealth check. It's not a stealth check. It's now a dex check. It take your 6 mains, strength, dex, intelligence, charisma, constitution, wisdom, and all those. And that's what you do. Now, if you play D&D before, any of them, you know that, okay, strength is obviously strength, dex. Now I'm like, oh, can I, finagle this lock open? Can I sneakily get over here? Wisdom, would I have known, people do this? Intelligence, would I know this is a fact from a book type stuff? Once you get that kind of understanding, those checks become easy. Now you're not like, oh, I need you to make a stealth check. Oh, well, I have a proficiency in stealth. Also, my dex is really high, blah, blah, blah. And that gets this. No, now it's just like basic core. You want to sneak around. Well, now it's just dex. It's not stealth. So they kind of simplified it in that manner, as well as, again, with Kelsey probably was doing this for, I want to say, both seasoned and newbies, because again, there's tables. There's tables for almost for everything. Yeah, it kind of
for all that.
Yeah, she saw. It's like, okay, this is a problem, but let me just put a table now.
Yeah.
Like with carousing, that is actually a really interesting way to level up. That's no longer like I need to talk to this person and get the right outcome to get experience and the CR rating, if you will. Is it CR rating? I forget what that stands for. Something challenge rating. Yeah. Challenge rating. Like this is like a really hard challenge rating, so you get like 100,000 EXP or whatever, this and that. Or if you're doing milestones where it's like, oh yeah, you solve this, this, and this. There's a table for like how much experience they should get, which I've been kind of playing off and on of like, there's a range of like, if you're newbie, with treasure, that's what it is. It's a treasure table, but treasure means experience.
Yeah.
So if I get a bunch of treasure and I take that treasure money, no, I'm not like hoarding it so I can, buy a mansion or create my own thieves guild or whatnot. No, I'm trading that treasure for experience.
Yeah,
and that's how I level up, as opposed to like, let me just go fight a dragon. Yeah. And maybe that dragon has like 5,000 experience points.
And that leveling up helps you, explore further into your journey or the story or whatever you're doing more important.
Exactly.
Next.
And I love that
it comes to play.
It also creates that problem of like, do I carry this item or not? Because the inventory is now a thing, right?
It is very important.
Yeah, because like, do I keep this giant ruby, or is this sword that's going to help me further get more treasure worth it in the end? Do I sell this sword? Because this sword is like, I just killed a beholder. There's no beholders. Whatever. I kill whatever, and maybe that thing has way more treasure. Maybe that thing has something else, or do I drop this rope? But now I need that rope to get down over here because there's this obstacle. So now you got to strategically start thinking whatever, which makes the game, because you want problems. You want problems because that's what makes the game fun. You want challenges. You know?
And going back to that streamlined philosophy, it seems like Kelsey, she's getting very close to finding that, sweet spot, because for D&D, here's for me as like, I'm an average player. I'm not like, one of those people who are like super savvy with the rules. I just want to enjoy the adventure.
And you want the game to move along.
Right? And move along. And I had that same issue. I play Warhammer 40K, for those who know what that means. It's the wargaming, tabletop wargaming. It has the same issue. How much of the the book diving and all the rule stuff to have in order for you to not pull someone out from immersion,
right?
Because when you're playing those games are games of the imagination, and even in Warhammer you're simulating a battle on the table and armies are moving along and stuff. Every time you stop to look up rules, and then you segue from that world you're immersed in, like there's a tiny amount of time you want to take the players away to look up something before you lose them from the immersion. And that's the danger.
Right.
When you're designing a game, that's the sweet spot you need to find. If you design a game that is clogged with so
many rules,
and
I'm playing a game like this, and I already know where you're going from.
And you know, like when you record a game, obviously you can edit and make it seem like, you know, it's flowing.
Right, but your real time
but the real time, like how much we're stopping and like diving into the rules or look up something like that
how
trivial.
Does dark vision really work?
And then and then, you know, as you're playing through the story, you get like so entranced and into it, and every time you get pulled away from that, Warhammer has that issue, at least for me. It's like, dude, I just want to be like constantly in battle or something, or in the story.
Right.
I don't want to be pulled away from it for too long.
Right.
I need to be pulled away from like a few seconds, you know, look up something real quick and dive back into the story. That's the sweet spot a designer needs to find.
That also kind of plays in part of your table, like who you're playing with, for especially like table or D&D type games. Because you might have a heavy role playing, like us. We obviously heavy role play because we're doing a podcast, so you want that. Some tables are just like battle oriented, where it's like, what's the next thing we're fighting, moving the story along. But some, you know, tables are like, let's character develop, you know, like let me understand your character a little bit better, and you do that role playing and whatnot. Especially again for us, since we're doing a podcast, people, you know, want to hear a story. At the end of the day, it's a story. Like there's trials and tribulations, challenges, fights, battles, whether physical or internal. That, you know, develops the game in itself.
At least for me, here's for the player's perspective, like for role playing, the only thing and the first thing that matters to me is my character sheet. And I feel like Shadowdark character sheet is more simple. I am so aware of everything in my character sheet at this point. It's good, it's quick. Versus D&D, it was too cumbersome for me. You know, we played for like a year. D&D was like too many things. Shadowdark, I know my character sheet. That's it. It's it's very condensed. One sheet. Everything is in the front. All I'm doing is role playing. I'm into the universe.
Getting into the story,
and the GM does his job, and that's the rest. I don't look anywhere else. I don't need to carry books with me. And in the D&D,
I still carry books, but that's for different reasons.
For different reasons. But in D&D, it's like you have the player handbook, you have the other, you know, resources and here and there and all that. If you're doing a special character, they have their own book. That's too much.
I also feel like that's like a lot of marketing on Hasbro.
But
Hasbro.
Yeah, you know what? Marketing or not marketing, it's killing the mood.
Right.
For Shadowdark, I care only about my character sheet, and so far, it's carrying me through all this stuff. I don't need anything else.
Right. But one thing, Kelsey, and I reading it on, I think it's in the player's handbook. Actually, no, it is. The number one rule for tabletop, I feel like this is across the board, no matter what kind of table TTRPG you're playing, D&D wise, if you will, rulings over rules. If you're having fun and a certain rule doesn't like adequate to what you're doing, and the DM decides to just change that rule for whatever reason, if you guys are still having fun and you're cool with it, just go with it. Rulings, I'm gonna allow that. We've heard that from me a lot. It's like, I'm gonna allow this because technically that might be a rule against it, but again, the DM can just do whatever.
But that goes down to an awesome DM who can sense the, he reads the room,
read the table.
He reads the room, reads the table. Yeah, that's more accurate. He reads the table, and he just plays along with the vibe. If the players are immersed and everything is that tiny little thing is gonna be
if it's gonna be that big of an issue, just
let it go.
Yeah, drop it. Create something. Create a borderline of what it means to whatever is like causing that issue. Get over it and continue having fun. Because at the end of the day, you're just having fun with your friends.
A flexible GM should be able to like move over it, keep the player in that mood.
Yeah,
he needs to capture that moment. It's like you're making a movie.
Exactly.
Like, you capture us into that movie, and then throw something else later to compensate if you want to.
Exactly.
Right?
Sorry. Now I reminded what my previous thing was saying. But also in the book it says, the DM is a neutral arbitrator.
Arbitrator.
Thank you. Yeah. Arbitrator. I'm not the bad. I mean, I am the bad guys and the good guys because I play an
you
NPC
be what
with
you have to be.
Yeah, I'm not like, unless you're one of those people who like that kind of thing where it's like, I want the DM to be the enemy the entire time. If that's your bag,
That's fine.
go for it. Yeah. But for the most part, most tables, for our table at least, I don't want to kill you guys. I want the story to continue because that's at the end of the day, we're making a story, and that's what we're trying to do.
There's no story to tell if we die in the first 5 seconds.
If I'm killing you every time, like the bad guy just slays you, the bad guy just slays you, the bad guy just slays you. It's like, well, eventually you'll be like, well, what's the point of fighting this guy?
It turns into like Dark Souls.
Now we're just a weird podcast talking about like, maybe I just want to be a farmer because every time anybody goes that way, you die. Yeah, Dark Souls, like you said.
Dark Souls,
it's just like that's not fun, and
if you don't know what Dark Souls is, give it a chance. I mean, don't give it a chance, but try it.
Just look at it. Like actually, you might be into that. I don't know. The only Dark Souls game I played was the Japanese one, Sekiro. But anyway, yeah.
Anyways, let me bring it back since I mentioned I noticed 2 things from that review that stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. The second one, the guy. He said in the rule books, Shadowdark didn't have any lore. It didn't establish a universe or lore or a world.
Oh, okay.
World building, tells you the backstory, the history, and all that stuff. Like, D&D.
Baldur's Gate, is a plethora
So Shadowdark
of stuff.
didn't have much of that. Is that true? Or what's the extent of that? 'Cause
I think there.
I didn't dive into it.
I think there is something out there, or Kelsey might be working. I could be wrong. I don't know. I haven't dove into that much.
But he reviewed the core rule book that comes.
Right. Oh,
yeah, his review.
Oh, in the book. Yeah. No.
His review was like, here's the book. I bought the book, and I played the game. And the guy was for it. He loved Shadowdark.
Right.
He's a seasoned D&D player.
Right.
He's
Right.
100%. It's a good review, actually. It was a very comprehensive review.
Right.
He mentioned some things here, but he loved a lot of stuff. One of the things that he mentioned, like I said, stuck with me was that. He said, from this book it didn't establish a world. It didn't establish or give you any lore, kind of left a little bit of a gap.
Right. Okay. So that is an interesting take. I will say this because I had a friend completely complain about, Wizards of the Coast stuff, like trying to break down the rules. Like, does anybody know what's going on in Faerun? And I think there's probably a plethora of YouTube videos and whatnot of what's going on in that world. Cause like, always catastrophic this and that. And that's the lore of the land. I kind of personally prefer just to let it be open to adaptation because sure, it's cool if I'm running an adventure path of sorts. Pathfinder 2, has their whole lore of stuff and looking into Faerun. Everyone knows about Baldur's Gate. Everyone knows about the candle, whatever it is. The whole ball spawn stuff. If you haven't and you want to check that out, I mean, there's so much stuff, but it's to the point where it's like there's too much stuff, But you can also just create your own world. Create your world in that world. It doesn't really matter. As for Shadowdark, does it have its own lore? I mean, if you put all the zines together in a weird way, they could kind of mesh in a sense, or they could be completely different dimensions. I never have a problem with that because, like, even the game we're playing, I'm throwing Rodney, a character that I based off of Faerun. I'm putting him in Shadowdark. And at the end of the day, as a character, I created it,
and it worked.
And I could throw him in any. And also, there's a Fey realm. Who's to say this Fey realm doesn't connect to Shadowdark's Fey realm that connects to whatever glowing or whatever? Like it's all imaginative, so it doesn't really matter. Now, as far as if there's actual lore, I want to say there might be a book out. I could be completely wrong. You might want to do your own research on this. Definitely do your own research on this. But I think Kelsey might be working on something with that with some people. And if not, I feel like it doesn't matter. And even if she is, I feel like it still wouldn't matter because even Kelsey, in her own words, back to that rulings over rules, it's back to your table. At the end of the day, you're playing with your friends. So if something's canon or not, you can make it canon or whatever.
Here's what it sounds like, which sounds more efficient in a way.
Do whatever you want.
The guy's review, that rule book was intended for how to play the game. And here's all the materials. Here's the resources. Here's the tables. And it sounds like Shadowdark leaves the lore to the zines. So
the zines,
you get the zine and you play and you discover this mysterious trench of the lore. And here's the story and you go for it. So the big picture will be puzzled into zine.
Exactly.
Which sounds more efficient. I shouldn't have to look up...
It's like having bite-sized... What do you call it? Bite-sized...
Stories.
I guess. I was looking for... Yeah. Bite-sized stories are like genres. Bite-sized genres. Like, for example, we're doing Zine 1, which is, Diablerie. So it has demons, it has werewolves, but it has that niche, right?
Yeah.
And I think 2 or 3, something has to do with kind of like sea or pirates or Vikings or something.
It takes you different places.
Yeah. So you're kind of jumping into a genre. Like if you're doing like for example, Rick's podcast, going back to him, Find the Path with I don't know if it's the first one he did, but Mummy's Mask. It's very like kind of Egyptian style, if you will.
So it sounds like, why cumbersome a rule book with a bunch of lore instead of having the rule book just like, here a new initiate who are playing, here's the rule book, here's all the stuff, here's your GM, and then treat the zines like episodes.
Exactly.
Like a TV show.
Like we're doing,
Yeah, you want to play in the rainforest of like, or some kind of like, whatever. Here it is. You want to play in the desert or some style.
Exactly.
Here's a zine that takes you into that setting, and then you take that zine and then do your story.
Exactly, because you could connect it if you want to.
So I don't need the lore to be crammed into the rulebook.
And also, you create the lore when you play anyway.
That's right.
And it's interesting that you say that because, like, the lore can be anything. And even there is actually some lore in the rulebook with some of the monsters. Because if you look at the 10-Eyed Oracle, and I've put this into the zine, if you haven't picked it up, you have the player's guidebook as well. So you can look at it. Like the 10-Eyed Oracle, it even says before it became the monster that it is, it was a helper of people. Like it was, imagine a beholder just being like a king's counselor. Just I know it looks weird, but like a giant beholder is like, he helped people, but then something happened, the calamity, if you will, and became menace. I took that lore and I put it into our game currently.
I personally...
So there's kind of like hints of lore that you can, as a DM, you can either, change, take out, or use. Me personally, I choose to use it because I'm always interested in other people's perspective, especially Kelsey's like writing this. So I like to honor what she wrote. But at the end of the day, I could just change it however I want.
I personally enjoy
your game,
this setup or this approach, because the whole thing is still shrouded in mystery. It's a mysterious world. Like, here's the rules. Okay, I got that. I got my character sheet. The zines, you take the zine, and then the world we're in that we're playing, it's still mysterious.
Right.
Which is awesome because, like, it took us 15 episodes. Now we know a little bit of this Mugdalblub, and there's all these wannabe gods and real gods, and then there's layers behind them, and it's deeper.
And the gods are in the handbook.
But still, the world is still mysterious to me, and that's the beauty of adventure.
Exactly.
I don't need to know a lot of lore. I need to discover it on the table as the GM tells the story, and then I adventure into it. And I found everything we found out so far, 15 episodes later, is that we uncovered. So I kind of like that world to stay a little bit mysterious versus in D&D, as great as it is. It's like, I can go and dive and read tomes and tomes of books, and I know all the world and all that stuff. It kind of like kills a little bit of mystery versus Shadowdark. I'm completely in the dark, and I discover the world as I go, which,
but also, D&D's been around for the 80s or whatever it was made. So they had time to sit there and
flesh out
let's create a story. Because like even the Driz books, if you know any,
I know I have one of them.
I've been thanks to Mumford. A shout out to him. He's awesome, dude.
I have the Driz book thanks to Rick.
Yeah.
One of them at least.
R.A. Salvatore, the writer, the author, working with Wizard of the Coast, created that story, and that's now lore canon and it's on a lot of the games. But like that took years and years of just like, you know, just D&D stuff being made and created. And he, you know, I bet that guy, obviously he must have played and whatnot, and just decided to write the story about this guy, right? About a Driz, this drow elf, and all his like adventures. So Shadowdark is still new. So who's to say that, like you're a writer, like who's to say you can't just start writing a book or creating your own lore? And then all of a sudden, like make it published, especially if it gets Kelsey's eye. That would be dope.
Infuse it into the game.
You should do that. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
I will.
And then, and then that becomes canon lore now because like anyone can create the lore.
You see, even in D&D, when we played D&D, I like I always say, I'm not like great connoisseurs, and I didn't read all the material.
You don't have to.
I enjoyed D&D the way you
get the concept, and you go.
The way you played us through it. The world was mysterious to me. I didn't want to know beforehand. And as you guided us through that game, it was fun because I discovered as I go.
You know, when
I didn't know a lot of stuff. I was discovering them as a character, the world, the places, all the adventures. I have memories of all those games we played because I discovered I still don't know what else around it, but everything I know is what I discovered. So I like the mystery of discovering the universe.
That makes the game fun. You know, when we first played that, I was trying to push on playing the game wrong, especially for the other podcast, WTF Bro. If you want to check that out, just know it's uncensored and unfiltered, so be wary of that. But when we first started that adventure, I was supposed to start doing some outlandish stuff that did not make sense, just for the lulz of it, you know, laughs and giggles. But then we started playing, and then I just kind of started diving into the rules, and I was still learning because that was the first time I've ever DM'd. And then I just started. I wanted to do it justice. It turned from like, hey, I want to break this game, to like, wait, this is how you play the game. And then I don't know, it snowballed, and now here we are playing Tabletop Diaries, playing Shadowdark.
But the fun part, like I said, only the GM should know a little bit more than everybody else. But as far as the players, if you're playing, the mystery is the fun.
Yeah.
You know, you are into this. It's like watching a movie. You don't, spoiler alert, like right in the movies, spoiler alert. When you sit down to watch a movie, you don't want to know everything. You want to watch the movie as it unfolds.
Exactly.
You know, I don't want me to come and tell you the ending or where is it set or who's in it and all that stuff. You want to watch the movie, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with RPG. You are in the movie. I don't need to know everything about everything. I just want to discover it as a character.
That's what makes rolling dice
and that
fun.
Influences your actions as a character.
Exactly.
If you know less, just stick to what your character is supposed to know, and then let the rest happen. And that will be a check of your character's, abilities. Of his, character.
Like, character development.
What would you do in those situations? Is he really a good guy? Is he really, a questionable person? What happened?
And again, what really brought us to this whole thing to begin with, especially, well, at least for me, is I wanted to dive more into, because if you don't know this about us, specifically me, Tim, and Dean here, we come from a background of independent movie production. So when I discovered D&D, it was kind of like, oh, this is kind of like acting, you know?
That's right.
I would love to act a little bit more, and being able to jump from one complete character, like spoiler, the hag, being a sweet old lady that just turns completely evil, hidden
that's acting skills.
Yeah, hidden motives, to hidden character. Durek? Is it Durek?
Durek, yeah.
Yes, Durek. I already forgot his fake name. Him being a bitter mold, and that, like, he's the awkward leader to a more serious leader, to even the fish leader. Just like having that diplomacy and having that in it, their character arc or their character development, all of that. And just like, how would it, like, honestly, honestly, this is I will say this DMing, especially DM prepping for me, uh, is like maybe 5% writing something or rolling tables stuff and like treasure and all that. And then like 95% of it is me just like head game thinking like, how does this character sound like? What is this character
But that's
acting
fun,
this character
right?
in my
But
head? Like,
that's super
what does
fun.
this character sound like? What is this character's deal? There's like kind of daydreaming in a sense of just,
that's
no,
the fun.
yeah.
It stimulates the imagination
It
beyond
does.
what you usually
And
do.
I get the most joy is like, okay, this is I finally flushed the idea, and then just to be able to hit it on the table on you guys and then having your reaction and then bouncing off of it, that's what makes this game fun to me. It's like, oh, this character just like literally just sitting in my room, just like listening to the similar stuff with this Syrinscape stuff, just listening to kind of music to kind of like stimulate the mind and just be able to create
and you know,
random characters and jumping from one
like you said
extreme to the other.
before, you know, it goes to our background in filmmaking. I literally, it's like when I play my character, having directed many movies, it's like I'm directing my own character. And I look at it that way. It's like, okay, this scene is happening, you know. I'm already like thinking, and I visually in my head, I'm in the set and I'm in the place. It's the beauty of imagination. I actually see all those. I have memory after we play. And I'm like, okay, I'm framing the shot. I'm like, look at my character. What is he supposed to do? What's happening? It's like directing a movie. I'm directing a scene, and it's so fun because, you know, it gives you many ideas. And then 5 minutes later, you're sucked into that character and you forget about the production part, and then you're in it.
Yeah.
And because you are directing as well as acting, and that's like bringing in so many crafts into one.
Yes. That's why I love this game so much.
And it takes you there. So that's the importance of that sweet spot between too many rules, too much complications, getting hung up on a lot of details versus lose yourself into the world.
Right. And I think that's what Kelsey wanted to.
I think she wanted to thrive.
She's like, it's getting too convoluted. So that's why she made this. I'm not trying to throw words in your mouth, Kelsey.
Yeah, I don't assume to know what's in her mind. But as an observer, I can try to imagine. I think she was trying to solve the problem because obviously she's a seasoned player.
Right.
She wrote stuff. She plays all these. So
yeah,
she has experience.
She has
right?
5e Venture Pass, and I remember downloading one, and I thought it was Shadowdark, but I started reading it, and it's reading like an adventure path, like others ones I've ran for you guys.
But I can assume, you know, from her experience, she's probably have the same issues I have with other games I play. She was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to find a better way of doing this.
Right.
And I think that's what her thought process, if I'm correct. As an observer, I think, you know, she was doing that because I dreamed of doing that for the games that I play. Like I brought earlier, Warhammer 40K. I love the game, the lore, the universe, the mechanics, and all the table and the world. It's like a perfect game for you to get lost in. But they turned it into like, you know, it's a giant corporations. They're trying to, I understand, trying to sell stuff. But it became, as a player, so much, dude. I don't want to step away and look into books. I love books, but that's not the time for it. When you're on the table, I just want to roll dice and fight and move my troops, and it's me and versus my friend or my opponent. That's it. I want to be in that universe for as long as the game goes.
Right.
If you don't want to take me out of it, and I think she was trying to solve that problem.
Right. And that's a hard problem to solve.
It is.
I don't think it'll ever be fully solved. I mean, I'd say that, but you know, it's just like you create a solution, new problems arrive with any game or scenario anyway.
But if you can get close to it, that's good enough.
Yes,
and I think this is good enough.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you know, the worst
fully
person.
enjoy it.
And if you can get me into it, I think you achieved your goal because that's
I'm
good
the worst person, so I
mean, you know, I'm not savvy. I don't have the attention span to like be the rule person and all that stuff.
I get that. That's why I play the way I do because I understand this.
But she succeeded to get me out of that shell into this with the minimum amount of rules that I need. I think she achieved that. And I can live with any other, you know, if there are minuses here and there, I can live with that because she gave me the main the main frame to be happy and to operate within it.
And also being able to create a whole game and the dynamics like that. I mean, huge props to you, Kelsey.
It's a huge endeavor.
Yeah, it is a huge endeavor. And I have to say this because she clearly went through the past. There's always going to be like cracks, you know?
Of course.
And that's why
That's nature.
Yeah, exactly. And me as a DM, and I've been playing now for, I've been DMing for what, like 2 years now, from the old podcast to this new one that we've been, because obviously this is the year wrap up. So we've been playing for about a year. But I guess me and you probably been played for like at least 2 years.
2.5 years.
Two and a half years. Okay. And then before that, me as just playing D&D ever, I might have another 3 years on top of that. What I'm trying to get at is like, let's say 5-6 years total max. And man, really 5-6 years? Oh, because I was in the other house. Sorry. I still feel like I'm a babe to the whole D&D thing, and I just kind of picked it up and, you know, just trying to fly with it. I still see myself as like a young little bird trying to fly out the nest with D&D, because I know there's people who've been playing, the people I play with off air, they've been doing it since they were, kids, you know, when the first D&D popped out, if you will. So I feel like I am juvenile all the way. But
that's the ultimate test to the game. If you consider yourself such a novice and this system gave you more confidence and more expertise, honestly. So and also
mentors in a sense, by other DMs,
and also the initial success of the game overnight, and the second super success on the Kickstarter for the second one, that tells you that there's an audience out there that is struggling with the same problem, and they found some sort of solution in this system.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be that successful if people didn't get the message that this game
that is true
will give you that, will get you closer to that solution that we all are aware of. Because most people are most likely like me, maybe a little bit better than me, and they are still within that community that recognizes there's an issue with a lot. When something gets too big and too complicated, we just want to have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's the greatest thing, is that you just have a good time. And I want to reiterate this to anyone who's listening, because when I first attacked this, I want to say I know I was more stressed than I should have been. I was like, how do I create a world? How do I just dive into this? Like, how do I, especially if you're gonna do a podcast, if this is your first time ever trying to play D&D and DM, first off, I must say, if you're trying to record it, give yourself some practice. I was in that same shoes. I want to record my first experience ever playing it, and that is not it. I can guarantee you that is not it. Unless I want to deter you because I thought I could just hit record and let's play and let's stumble, and it might be hilarious. That might still work for somebody out there or a couple people out there. But I would say, if you're trying to do something like this, play with your friends at least one, get through some of the rough stones, because even me as a listener, and I listen to it because I always want to get better, there's some things you want to hear and there's some things you're not. And I feel like, again, going back to that whole burning so much time looking through books, because you don't want to open up a rule book to like figure out, okay, does invisibility affect, like, do I become uninvisible because of this? Is it halfling invisibility, or is it like the wizard spell invisibility, this and that? And again, praise to Kelsey for just streamlining it, just word for word, what it should be. I guess what I'm saying is, like, just start, just play a little bit, get it under your belt somewhat. Just play, just start. It's not as bad as you think it is. And honestly, again, your friends, the people that you want to play with, they're going to help you way more than the stress that you're throwing to yourself, overwhelming yourself with, of like, oh,
you're gonna have a table chemistry.
That's gonna change, because like you can sit there in your room with your thoughts and just bouncing these worries and ideas in your head and never start, or you can start and then realize, like, oh, I have finally, like, it spent me 3 months to prep, and then the session you're like, oh, they're gonna get here, 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 and here, and they barely get through the first thing in your mind. Is like, wow, they were supposed to be over here, and it's been 3 hours, and they haven't even yet. I guarantee you, they will write the story for you, and then whatever you had written might change, and probably, I want to say 100%, but you can never 100% something. Almost like 99%, it's gonna be better than whatever you've written, because now, and you could always bring whatever you've written back into it however you want to. That's what I'm saying, is like, just start playing, because don't stress yourself out about it. The game's going to unravel itself as you go, and it's really just the people you play with, honestly.
Here's a confession for you. Like, I always dreamed about DMing, because I think I would be the perfect person to DM. I love telling stories.
You're a writer, so that makes sense.
And I think I have great skills of improvising. I would be like, that's the time for me to shine. It's like, I can think on my feet. I'm not a master improviser, but I'm just saying, I know myself. I'm very good at improvising, and I will make up stuff out of nowhere you can't even, fathom. But I never wanted to try it, because I was so deeply intimidated by the complexities of DMing in D&D. It was something I would never go anywhere near.
Because you might get that player that's like, oh, I cast this or whatever. And
no, it's not the players. I'm good at reading the table. I know how to deal with people. I can literally control the situation and give you an awesome experience.
That is a confident answer. And
it is. And I know that, and I will back it. But D&D was so complicated. It was so intimidating to me that I would never go anywhere near it. Shadowdark, when we started playing, it was the first time I said, you know what? Maybe this is the game that I can actually dare sit in that chair and bring my skills into trying to DM a game. Because I know I will be perfect at it. But I cannot be perfect if I'm using a system that is so complicated and big. Shadowdark seems the system that I can have a chance to at least contribute and bring my skills into it. That's an honest confession. That's why I never dared to go anywhere near DMing a game. Because of that. Because I will be literally directing a movie and I'll feel in my element. It's just I need to know the tool.
That's wild.
And D&D seems like it's like I'm operating a camera that I would never be able to understand.
That's wild that you say that, because I never thought of it like that. And it's not like, because I wouldn't want to put myself in the director's shoes of like, hey, this is, I mean, I get if it's a story I've written, but I guess that's kind of the thing with D&D and Shadowdark and everything, is like, it's half written. I have an idea, but I'm literally throwing it to you guys, to the players, to flush out, and then it's just getting recorded simultaneously, if you will.
Because that's my skill. I directed movies. I've been in so many circumstances. I was never afraid or freaking out. It's like, I always have an answer. I always think on my feet, and I've dealt with so many situations, and I feel like alive in those situations. Like, I thrive in that stuff. But D&D is like, kind of hinder you a little bit. I don't know. It's just, that's how it feels.
Okay, as a writer, I could kind of get that. And I will say, when I say as a writer, not me as a writer, I don't really see myself as a writer, but I could see arguments there all day. But the one thing I will say as a DM to you, you being an actual writer, if you have a story set in mind, you do have to let go. Seen this in forums and stuff where it's like, oh, I want this to go this way. You have to let go of that, because it will. I guarantee it will not go that way. It will not go that way.
Believe me, I'm not. My problem is not the story.
It goes to that thing of sandboxing to railroading. Because you know what that means.
Because when I see you DMing the games, I'm in awe of the amount of work you do. It's like, I'll be like, man, I can never do what Tim does. But here's the thing. It's not the storytelling. Like I said, in movies, I write scripts and I go off the pages all the time and I read the room and let the actors roll with it.
Exactly.
I enjoy that. It's the mechanics and the rules that hinders me.
Okay.
That's what buries me. When I look at D&D and I'll be like, that's too complicated. I looked at the screen the other day like that. I was like, that's a lot of stuff. But Shadowdark seems to be like the one that is easy. Because when we played D&D, I was like, man, how this thing does it? It's like, I dream of like maybe one day of like, I'll be like you. It was like, I give you props for all the games you think.
That's a huge compliment.
But yeah, because I looked, I took a glance. I was like, dude, this seems too complicated. And like I said, I would be perfect for that role. Like I said, if like in a movie and there's a camera, I would never be able to operate just because the manufacturer made it stupidly complicated. Think about it like in those terms.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I see. Okay.
Yeah. It's not the script. It's not the players. It's not the actors. It's not the set. I can enjoy dealing with all those things. It's the technical stuff.
Right. It's like being on set and like having like, hey, sound guy, I need this to happen. I don't know how you're supposed to do that, but can you? Is that possible? And the sound guy's like, yeah, we can do this and this and this. And you're like, okay, how? But you don't know the actual terminology or the actual procedure of it happening. Yeah. Right. Okay, I can understand that. But honestly, this actually, write to tabletopdiary at gmail.com if you would like to see Dean or honestly any other member of Tabletop Diaries, any other
GM, any one of us with
players.
DM,
if you want any of them, I would like to know who you want to see DM.
Maybe they'll be the ultimate test because it's like you have to get over all the
Also, I want to know if you'd like to see it raw, because I was gonna honestly tell you if you want to like practice, if you will, to kind of get something so it's not completely terrible. I don't know how well it's gonna be. I guess either way it's gonna be pre-recorded, and if it's complete, if I don't feel like it's up to good, maybe I don't know, I'll put it in the back burner.
We have to be honest. If it sucked, we have to put it out there and see the consensus.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
if it sucks, I will put it somewhere so they can put it. We can put a disclaimer. I guess whatever. Sure, why not?
Put a disclaimer, dude. Put a disclaimer.
Either way, let us know if you even want that to happen.
Honest.
Yeah, you're right.
I would not. I don't have an issue with that. I
don't either. Yeah. I mean, we came from WTF, bro.
I will step up and say, hey, honesty is honest.
Let us know. Email us or write in the comments below. Apparently, Spotify has comments. I still don't know how that works, but apparently it works, and it's the thing. Or wherever you're listening to this. But if you don't know how to reach us, tabletopdiary@gmail.com is probably one of the best ways to reach us. Specifically me, because I actually been looking at that more recently.
We will check. Yeah, we see all the emails and the comments, and we will get to you instantly.
Yeah.
No issues.
One of us will figure it out. So 2025, that's our review of Shadowdark so far. Overall, I'm loving it. And
Me too.
I cannot wait to start even the next scene. I've kind of already been working on it.
I look forward to every game before it even happens. I mean, that's the honest feeling.
And I do too now, especially now. I hope my tips as a new DM out there, if you're listening to this, stop worrying. Just play. If you're with your friends, they'll get it. And you just have a good time. Have fun. At the end of the day, have fun. Because that's what this game is. That's what D&D was always about. Get together with the bros and the gals and your friends, all your friends, and just storytell. Because honestly, back in the day, that's what we were all doing. We're just sitting around a campfire or hearth or whatever and just telling stories. But now we just get to do it a little more mechanical with more rules and dice now. So we're playing game and storytelling.
It's simple. If your friends and players on the table are having a good time, you're doing your job.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
And you don't have to be great by any stretch of the means.
Even if you break all the rules, if they're having a good time.
You're
doing something right. Keep doing it.
Indeed. Thank you for listening.
Happy New Year's to everybody.
Happy New Year's, and hopefully 2026, there's going to be a lot more episodes. Hopefully there'll be more episodes. Either way, there's going to be more episodes.
Keep gaming.
Keep gaming. And thank you, Kelsey, for creating this. Shadowdark.
Peace.
Peace.